Mind and brain. ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्. ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति. Namaskar, my dear friends. In this video, I am going to discuss about the spiritual importance of human mind in spiritual sadhanas. The human mind is a complex organ. It is not a secret that the brain is one of the most important parts of the human body. Without it, the rest of a human's body is practically docile and useless. The brain is also the seat of the mind's power. Many philosophers consider that the human mind can be compared to a high-end computer because both things process and analyze great ideas. Here are some interesting mind power facts about the human brain. Scientists around the globe consider the mind as a complex entity. Many great men have argued time and again about the power of the mind. James Watson, an American molecular biologist who is more famously known as the co-discoverer of the human DNA, stated that the brain is the most complex thing known we have yet discovered in the universe. The left hemisphere of the brain controls the right side of the body, while the right hemisphere controls the left side. Studies made by experts have concluded that the left part of the brain controls and operates the right side of the body, while the right part controls the left. This fact is known as the lateralization of the human brain. These are also some special bodily functions which these two sides of the brain control. The left hemisphere of the brain takes charge of language, logic, and analytical processes, and the right hemisphere is associated with expressive and creative practices. The brain takes up only 2% of the body's weight, but it uses 20% of its energy. Scientists believe that the mind needs 20% of the body's energy in order for it to function properly. It is believed that the bulk of this energy is spent to fuel electrical impulses of neurons. These experts also believe that the mind uses two-thirds of its power to send signals and the remaining percentage is used for maintenance. We are all born with the same amounts of brain cells, but these cells grow as we learn new things and store memories. The power of the mind starts during a baby's time in the mother's womb. The neural foundation of the brain develops as the fetus develops when the baby is born. The neurons are primed to organize themselves as a response to the new environment and experiences. These brain cells develop more as the baby learns more things in life. The speed of information exchanges in the mind varies among different types of neurons. The brain houses many kinds of neurons. These different types of neurons have unique characteristics among each other. Some of these brain cells can process information as fast as 0.5 meters per second or as fast as 120 meters per second. People with high IQ are more prone to dreams. This is a theory by brain experts. People who are more intelligent are said to have more dreams. But this does not mean that smart people can recall their dreams better than other people. Most of us do not remember our dreams because most of it lasts only 2 to 3 seconds anyway. The brain is more active during the night than during daytime when we turn off the light. The most of the mind's power go on. This is the reason why most people remember tasks and assignments while lying in bed, making them panic in order to appease their task. Scientists believe that the main cause of this fact is because during daytime we are more preoccupied with physical tasks like working and playing than mental tasks. The brain or the mind itself cannot feel pain and other emotions are processed by the brain. The mind tells us how it hurts when we jam our little toes or when we cut our skin. The funny thing is that the brain itself cannot feel pain. The reason is that the brain does not have any pain receptors and is physically incapable of feeling pain. The mind generates enough electricity to power a light bulb. A 10-watt light bulb can be powered by the energy used by a brain when it is awake. This is why cartoons often depict ideas as light bulbs being turned on. The human mind is an ultimate storage device. True to the idea that the human mind is likened to a computer, it is proven that the brain can hold tons and tons of information. Experts believe that the computer, it is proven that the brain can hold tons and tons of information. Experts believe that the brain can store 5 times as much information as the Encyclopedia Britannica. In computer terms, the mind can probably have 1000 terabytes worth of storage space. Mind and brain. Mind and brain. There are two reasons why we are born: to understand destiny and to make spiritual progress. Undergoing destiny is a process that we largely have no control over, but it is possible to make conscious efforts for spiritual progress. Having a spiritual aim in life and certain qualities help us to make such efforts. In this article, we describe who is a seeker, what qualities are useful on a seeker's spiritual journey, and how one can start developing them. A seeker is someone who makes honest and sincere efforts on a daily basis to grow spiritually, has intense desire for spiritual growth, has intense desire for liberation from the cycle of birth and death, has desire to change by removing personality defects and imbibing divine qualities, tries to observe everything from a spiritual perspective, focuses on remembering God or Guru during service unto the absolute truth, attempts to give the doership of each action to God, tries to perform each and every activity with perfection, tries to perform every action as spiritual practice and inspires others to do so, feels love for everything created by God. As a seeker progresses spiritually, they imbibe more and more of these ideal qualities. A disciple displays many of these qualities through every action and strives to improve their spiritual practice both quantitatively and qualitatively on a regular basis. It is important that a seeker's efforts towards spiritual growth conform to the basic principles of spiritual practice. Spiritual introversion or a focus on God is indeed to be a true seeker of God. Spiritual introversion gradually leads to a reduction of identification with the five senses, mind, and intellect. Non seekers, on the other hand, work to enhance identification with the five senses, mind, and intellect. The difference is between a seeker and a non seeker. Non seeker main aim is to grow materialistically, works towards enhancing the mind, body, and intellect. External journey develops personality defects such as attachment, pride, anger, etc. Feels that I am the doer, but seeker main aim is to grow spiritually, works towards dissolution of the mind, body, and intellect. Internal journey develops divine qualities like spiritual love, introversion, spiritual emotion towards God, etc. Feels that God is the doer. If we have the yearning to change ourselves to become a better seeker and human being, all efforts will happen more easily. In spirituality, desire to grow spiritually is of 80% importance. Below are some concrete steps one can take to develop the quality of seekership that can be practiced in day to day life, at work, at home, etc. Consistently increase the quality and quantity of the spiritual practice we are currently doing. For example, if we are chanting 2 hours per day along with our daily activities, we can try to chant 3 hours in the following month, then 4 hours in the month after that, etc. Observe quality in others and emulate them. For example, tardiness, time, timeliness. For example, if we notice our friend always meets us on time, then we can ask ourselves whether we always come to meetings on time and make efforts to be punctual. Develop the attitude of learning from situations. For example, if a colleague keeps getting angry at us, instead of feeling angry ourselves, we can try to see how to remain calm, learn how we can help the other person, keep a spiritual perspective towards the situation, that developing love without expectations towards other is a divine quality, etc. Readily working on the above points will itself develop seekership within us. It is important to remember that being a seeker is not a status, it is an attitude that is practiced in everyday life. Spiritual growth is likely to be rapid in one inculcates the qualities of a seeker. The spiritual journey also becomes smoother by developing these qualities, and one is likely to experience more bliss. Anand. We come across many people who have sincerely followed some form of spiritual practice, sometimes for every 20 or 30 years, and have not achieved the expected spiritual growth. To avoid this, apart from inculcating the qualities of a seeker, we recommend that spiritual practice conform to the six basic principles of spirituality. I am also a seeker and expecting you to. Mind and brain. Mind and brain. Mind and brain. How meditation is an essential part of spiritual sadhanas. Body and mind are one energy. For example, if you can control your breath when you are angry, the anger will die. If you can go on breathing rhythmically, anger cannot overpower you. In the same way, if you go on breathing rhythmically, sexual passion cannot overpower you. It will be there, but it will not become manifest. No one will know it is there. Not even you will be able to know it. So, sex can be suppressed, anger can be suppressed. Through rhythmic breathing, you can express them so much that you yourself will not even be aware of it. But the anger or sex will still be there. The body has pressed it, but it remains inside untouched. Meditation brings all that is valuable in life: truth, freedom, celebration. It gives your heart a dance. It makes your being full of songs. One loses all seriousness. Seriousness is pathological. It is an ill state of affairs. It is not healthy. The meditator takes life playfully. For him, the whole existence is such a beautiful dream and life is acting. Do it with totality, but without any seriousness. And if you are not serious, then there is never any frustration. If you succeed, good. If you fail, good. Neither failure brings misery nor success brings euphoria. One takes both things with deep equanimity. One remains undisturbed by success or failure. Our one remains absolutely unmoved, centered, grounded. Meditation makes you the center of the cyclone. Life comes and goes. The meditator remains unaffected. Even death is a drama. Just as he enjoys life, he enjoys death. He can laugh in life. He can laugh in death. Meditation is the greatest miracle there is. It is the greatest gift that has been given by the awakened ones to humanity. Science has given many things, but nothing compared to meditation, and one cannot conceive that science will ever be able to give anything comparable to meditation. Up to now, meditation has been the greatest gift to humanity, and it is going to remain the greatest gift forever. That can be safely predicted for the simple reason that science goes on studying the objective world. Meditation gives you mastery of your subjective existence, your inner world, and the inner is always higher than the outer. Science cannot be greater than the scientist, obviously. The object cannot be higher, more valuable than the observer. Albert Einstein has given many great things, but nothing is more valuable than Albert Einstein himself, and he remained unaware of himself. He became aware of this fact, but very late. Just before he dies, he confesses to a friend, "Next time, if I come back to life, I would rather be a plumber than a physicist. I would like to live a simple life," but he did not know that plumbers are not living simple lives either. Life without meditation, whether you are a plumber or a physicist, makes no difference. But one thing is certain, that he became aware of the fact that he had missed something. This is the right time for you. This is the age that one should start getting involved in the inner. Then there is time and there is space and there is energy to do something. So feel blessed that at the right time you are becoming a sannyasi. You need not to die feeling that you have missed. If people practice awareness techniques and simultaneously practice yogic methods, they will know deeper realms of awareness. Otherwise, they will be aware only of the gross. If you change the gross but do not change the subtle, you will be in a dilemma. Now, conflict will assert itself in a new way. One has to work with both the body and the mind. The body should be trained through yogic methodology and the mind through awareness. You will require more awareness if you practice yoga because things will become more subtle. If you are angry, you can ordinarily become aware of it because it is so gross. But if you practice pranayama, you will need more awareness, more acute sensitivity to be aware of anger, because now the anger will become more subtle. The body is not cooperating with it, so there will be no physical expression of it at all. Yoga is for those who are completely healthy as far as medical science is concerned, normal. They are not schizophrenic, they are not mad, they are not neurotic. They are normal people, healthy people with no particular pathology. Still, they become aware that whatever is called normality is futile. Whatsoever is called health is of no use. Something more is needed. Something greater is needed. Something holier and whole is needed. Meditation does not mean concentration. It does not mean contemplation. It means getting beyond the mind. Concentration, contemplation are both of the mind. Meditation means getting unidentified with the mind, seeing the mind as separate, knowing the mind as separate, witnessing the mind but not getting identified with it. Slowly, as witnessing grows, the distance grows between you and the mind. Soon, the mind is a meditation. Mind is a faraway echo, and finally, you cannot even hear the echo. Then you are left utterly alone. Meditation is focused mind. You simply listen silently, not with a tension in the mind, not with an urge to know and learn, no, with total relaxedness, in a let go, in an opening of your being. You listen not to know, you simply listen to understand. Choose one meditation and then put all your efforts in it. That effort has to be very regular because will is created only out of regularity. It has to be very persistent and a continuity has to be maintained. Even to miss for one day is to destroy much, and at least 1 hour every day has to be given to it.
mind and brain.
Importance of imagination or positive affirmations in spiritual sadhanas. You have a very tremendous capacity to imagine. If you can use it, it can be an immense help. If you don't use it, it can become barrier. If one has some capacity, one has to use it. Otherwise, it becomes like a rock on the path. One has to step over it and transform it into a stepping stone. You have a very deep potentiality for imagination. So use it. Start three things. One is imagine yourself as happy as possible. Within a week, you will start feeling that you are becoming very happy for no reason at all. That will be proof of your dormant capacity. So the first thing to do in the morning is to imagine yourself tremendously happy. Get out of the bed in a very happy mood, radiant, bubbling, expect as expect, expectant as if something perfect of infinite value is going to open happen today. Get out of the bed in a very positive and hopeful mood with the feeling that this day is not going to be an ordinary uh, day, that something exceptional, extraordinary is waiting for you. Something is very close by. Try and remember it again and again. Fire the whole. Within 7 days, you will see that your whole pattern, your whole style, your whole vibration has changed. The second thing, when you go to sleep in the night, just imagine that you are falling into the divine hands as if God is supporting you, that you are in His lap, falling asleep. Just visualize it and fall asleep. The one thing is to carry is that you should go on imagining and let sleep come so that the imagination enters into sleep. They are overlapping. This is the second thing, and the third thing, don't imagine any negative thing because if possible, because if people who have an imaginative capacity imagine negative things, they start happening. If you think that you are going to get ill, you will get ill. By the same way, do imagine positive things will happen in your life because, and imagine such a way that the things are already happen. That is in past tense and you will feel happy about it.
Mind and brain. Mind and
Transcending the mind. Maharshi Raman has given too much importance to transcend the mind for each and every spiritual aspirant because mind is the main cause a person may reach the stage of liberation or will remain in the cycle of death and birth. So transcending the mind means through spiritual practices we can weaken the mind or we can make the mind so pure that it becomes our real self. I solemnly affirm that the Disease of birth and death can be removed only through the divine panacea of mind mastery, not through any other means. The path of annihilation of the mind will be most beneficial to you and will never generate the least of pains. If the mind is destroyed by dint of discrimination, then Maya illusion will not afflict you. There is no other vessel on this earth to sail the ocean of rebirth than mastery of this turbulent mind. Tame the mind, collect your thoughts, keep the mind serene, think not of evil. You will enter the realm of deathlessness, dominion of eternal bliss. Withdraw the senses from their objects, collect the rays of the mind, direct the mind towards the Ajna chakra or the space between the eyebrows and fix it there steadily. Understand the mind, know how to manage it. Mind abhors a vacuum. Aversion and desire both are binding to monkeys sitting on the tree of the heart. While they continue to shake and agitated, there can be no peace. Man falls into the cycle of births and deaths through his own thoughts, his own ignorance. Liberation means nothing but the destruction of the impurities of the mind. If your mind is free and pure, you will not again enter into birth. Control of the mind is not done in a day but by constant practice and sustained dispassion. Victory will be yours. Become a true hero. Have mastery over the mind. Enter the illimitable realms of bliss. Blessed is he who has controlled his mind and achieved self conquest. Dispassion, discrimination, renunciation, and meditation are enemies of the mind. You can destroy the mind easily if you possess these virtues. The mind manifests itself as the external world in the shape of pain and pleasure. The mind subjectively is consciousness, while objectively it is this universe. The mind has the potency of creating or undoing the world in the twinkling of an eye. The source of the mind. Creation, preservation, destruction, willing, and blessings are God's five kinds of actions. God is the ruler, the knower of the heart, and the prompter. He helps the student in a variety of ways through dreams, the inner voice, talking through the mouths of others in conversation, and in advice from friends. Eternal bliss, supreme peace, eternal satisfaction, infinite happiness, and unbroken joy can be had only in God. Attain God consciousness or self realization through exclusive devotion to one aspect of the Lord or by self inquiry. When by analyzing your own mind you come face to face with something which is never destroyed, something which by its own nature is eternally pure, perfect, self luminous, and unchanging, you will no longer be miserable or unhappy. The nature of Brahma is Sat Chit Ananda, existence, knowledge, bliss, absolute. What limits the individual soul's vision? It is only the mind. Between the Atma, self, and the organs of the senses, a connecting link is necessary. We acknowledge the existence of an internal organ, the mind, through which perception takes place. If we do not admit the internal organ, there would result either perpetual perception or perpetual non perception. Perception results when there is conjunction of Atma the senses and the object. These are the three instruments of perception. If this effect did not follow, perpetual non-perception would take place. Neither is the case, however. We have therefore to acknowledge the existence of an internal organ on whose attention and non-attention, perception and non-perception take place. This is the argument for the existence of the mind. Mind is nothing but a collection of impressions. It is a bundle of habits. It is a collection of desires arising from contact with different objects. It is a collection of feelings aroused by worldly botherations of ideas gathered from different objects. These desires, ideas, and feelings change constantly. Some of the old desires and feelings are constantly departing from the storehouse, the mind, and being replaced by new ones. This constant change does not in any way interfere with the harmony of mental operations. Some ideas and feelings depart, and those that remain work in healthy cooperation with the new arrivals. They work in harmony, and this harmony sustains the identity of mental existence. Mind is all. Mind alone is the whole world, with its pains, old age, death, sin, earth, water, fire, air, and ether, and all the internal organs. Mind binds man. He who has controlled his mind is a veritable God on earth. We live in a world of thoughts. First there is the thought, and then there is the expression of that thought through the organ of speech. Thought and language are intimately connected. Loving thoughts uplift and encourage others. Unkind thoughts, thoughts of anger, bitterness, and malice injure others. Thoughts are things: sound, touch, taste, form, and odor. The waking, dream, and deep sleep states all are the products of the mind only. Thoughts such as passion, anger, bondage, time, know all these to be the results of the mind. The only true laboratory is the mind. Study it, test it, and then go beyond it. Then you will realize the truth. Then you will discover the hidden soul. Only if your mind is quiet will you enjoy peace in your own home, as you will enjoy in the forest. Man has a mind, but mind is not man. Mind is a good servant. It is an instrument only. Utilize it tactfully and properly. The prime requisite for happiness is control of the mind or lower self. Your thought is imprinted on your face. Mind is a bridge that connects the human with the divine. Your body, your business, your house are all only ideas within your own mind. Thought is a dynamic force. Good thoughts is the first perfection. It is the real wealth. Emotion is the driving force at the back of the mind. Willpower is the master key to success. Knowledge, thought, intellect, and reason are one. Appetite, instinct, impulse, and desire are one. Emotion, ambition, spirit, and craze are one. The mind is the master of the body. The soul is the master of the mind. Thou art in a sense immortal soul. Thou art above body and mind. Always remember this supreme fact and live in the awareness of the spiritual nature. Mind and matter. Mind is not a gross thing, visible and tangible. Its existence is nowhere seen. Its magnitude cannot be measured. It does not require space in which to exist. Mind and matter are two aspects or subject and object of one and the same all full Brahma who is itself neither and yet includes both. Mind precedes matter. This is the Vedantic theory. Matter precedes mind. This is the scientific theory. Mind is immaterial only in the sense that it has not the characteristics of ponderable matter. It is not immaterial in the sense that Brahma, pure spirit, is. Mind is Mind is the subtle form of matter, hence it is the prompter of the body. Mind is made of subtle, pure, sattvic atomic matter. Mind is all electricity. It is formed of the subtlest portion of food. The soul is the only source of intelligence. It is self-evident. It shines with its own light. The organs or mind and senses derive their principle of activity and life from the soul. By themselves they are lifeless. Hence the soul is always the subject and never the object. Mind is the object of the soul. It is a cardinal principle of Vedanta that which is an object for a subject is non-intelligent. Even the principle of self-consciousness is non-intelligence. It does not exist by its own light. It is the object of perception to the soul. Mind is composed of coarse or fine matter according to the needs of the more or less unfolded consciousness connected with it. In the educated, it is active and well defined. In the undeveloped, it is cloudy and ill defined. Absolute consciousness is common to all, it is one. All the workings of the mind are presented to the one common consciousness, which is the witness of the mental virtues. It is the mind that limits man, who is in reality identical with Brahma. This identity is realized when the veil of ignorance is removed. For Brahma, the mind is an object of perception. Atma directly cognizes all the phenomena of the mind, desires, imagination, doubt, belief, shame, intellect, fear, etc., and yet remains quite unattached and unaffected. The mind becomes the body. The body with its organs is no other than the mind. The physical body is the outward manifestation of the mind. Mind is the subtle form of the physical body. The mind contemplating on the body becomes the body itself. Then enmeshed in it, it is afflicted by it. All bodies have their seat in the mind. Should the mind be paralyzed, the body will not evince any intelligence. The mind performs all actions very speedily in the linga sarira, subtle body, and fluctuates thereby, but the gross body knows not anything and is inert. Should this gross body be dissolved, the mind quickly assumes a fresh body. This physical body is the mold, as it were, of the mind. It is made by the mind for the outpouring of its own energy for its own enjoyment. Thereby it gains different experiences of this world through the organs of knowledge of perception. The body is really out. The body is really our thoughts, moods, convictions, and emotions objectivized, made visible to the naked eye. Every cell in our body suffers or grows, receives a life impulse or a death impulse. About most, when the mind dwells on a particular thought, a definite vibration of matter is set up. This trend to this tends to repeat itself to become a habit. The body follows the mind and imitates the changes. Every change in thought makes a vibration in your mental body, and this, when transmitted to the physical body, causes activity in the nervous matter of the brain, and this activity in the brain and nerve cell causes electrical and chemical changes in the body. Vedanta also adds, see and feel Brahma everywhere. Ignore the names and forms. This teaches you to develop Atma Bhava, feeling that the self is all, or Brahma Bhava, feeling and Brahma is all, by vichara, inquiry, and right thinking and meditation. When an idea exclusively occupies the mind, a mental state or bhava corresponding to the nature of the idea comes in. Think of your enemy, the inimical bhava will manifest. Think of mercy and universal love, prema, love bhava, or karuna, compassion bhava will manifest. Think of universal service, seva, service bhava will manifest. Think of Lord Krishna and his Leelas, Krishna Prema Bhava will manifest. Feeling always accompanies thinking. It is like fire and heat separation. How to
Mind
cultivate
and
right
brain.
thinking.
Mind and
How to cultivate right thinking. Every thought has an image, form, dimension, weight, shape, color, etc. Thought is as much matter as a piece of stone. A table is a mental image plus some external something. Whatever you see outside has a counterpart in the mind. The pupil is a small round thing in the eye, and the retina is another small structure in the eye. How is it that the image of a big mountain seen through that small aperture is cast onto the mind? How does the big form of the mountain enter a tiny hole in the eye? This is a marvel of marvels. The image of the mountain already exists in the mind. The mind is like a big vast sheet of canvas cloth that contains all the pictures of the objects seen outside. Thought moves and passes from one man to another. Thought readily influences people. A man with strong thoughts can readily influence people with weak thought. Telepathy is a branch of occult science wherein the yogi can transmit messages to any man in any part of the world. A thought of anger or hatred sends arrows from the mental factory towards the person aimed at. It harms the individual, sets up discord and disharmony in the thought world, and comes back again to the sender and harms him also. If one can understand the effect and power of thought, he will be more careful in the manufacture of his thoughts in his mental laboratory. Develop the faculty of producing only sattvic, pure thoughts by protracted mental discipline. Di- Didactic adjustments, repetition of good hymns with meaning, good company, the study of divine books, japa, repetition of God's name, meditation, pranayama, yoga, breathing, prayer, etc. A good man can help his mind even though he lives a long way, long away by good thoughts alone. Do not allow evil thoughts to enter your mental factory. Always watch your thoughts, avoid useless thinking, conserve your mental energy. To cultivate the sublime thoughts, always keep yourself occupied in doing virtuous deeds and in the study of religious books. Destroy random thinking. Think of only one subject and different aspects. When you do this, never allow any other thought to enter the conscious mind. Again and again withdraw the mind to the subject on hand. Then take up another thought when you have exhausted the previous one. By this practice, you will develop organized thinking. The mental images will gain intense strength and force. They will become clear cut and well defined. In ordinary persons, the mental images are undefined. On Virti, the mind stuff is chitta. It is a mental substance. Virti or thought wave is a modification of the mind stuff. It is a process just as waves and bubbles arise from the surface of the ocean. So also these virtis arise on the surface of the mind ocean, just as the sun's rays emanate from the sun. So also these mental rays modifications of the virti emanate from the mind sun, just as the sun merges itself into the horizon at sunset by collecting all its rays, so also you have to merge in the Son of Suns absolute consciousness, eternal peace by collecting all the dissipated mental rays and dissolving the mind itself. The function of the vritti in the mind is to cause the removal of the cause of ignorance, covering objects. Gross ignorance is enveloping all objects. When it is removed, then perception of objects become possible. Through its own effort, the mind assumes the shape of any object and concentrates upon itself. When the mind thinks of Brahma, the sole ultimate thought of Brahma is formed. Be vigilant, watch the mind and its activities. The object does not bind you. It is the virti, the identification with the virti that causes attachment and bondage. If you become one with the mind, body, and virtis, you get various sorts of miseries and suffering. The whole universe is created by the virtis alone. If these mental thoughts waves subside, you can attain the absolute state of highest peace and bliss. Just as soap cleans the physical body, even so japa, repetition of any mantra, dhyana, meditation, and kirtan chanting, together with the practice of yama and niyama discipline, cleanse the mind of all impurity. Just as you nourish the physical body with food, even so you will have to give food for the mind and spiritual food for the soul. Only when the modifications cease do you enter the silence. Realize this, close the eyes, draw in the senses, still the mind, silence the thoughts, sharpen the intellect, purify the chitta, meditation on Om and chant it with feeling. Enter the silence, silence is Atma, the center, it is in the heart cave. When the mind runs from one object to another, the state in the interval wherein you become mindless is Brahma. So I complete this video at this stage. Next video on the same topic of importance of mind in the spirituality will continue in the second video also. Thank you for watching this video. Namaskar. Thank you.
Mind and brain.